What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You know what? I don't have any opening this time. Let's just get right into it.
I'll just say it's really hot here. Hot and smoky. Beautiful.
Did you do any grilling or barbecue or anything?
No, I just got finished making dinner, but we've got wildfires here around BC and kind of the Seattle area, and there's been some like wind blowing it all up on top of the city, so it kind of making it a little dark. Oh well.
All right. Welcome back.
It's foreshadowing.
Yeah. Welcome back to episode 27 of the CLG Faith podcast.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Sm4sh. You know my co-host, Artrin.
What's up, guys?
Alright, let's just get right into it this week.
Yeah. Oh, hey, well, let's make a notice. We are going to start putting timestamps in the description of the YouTube video, so you can easily select what you're wanting to listen to. So if you want to skip right to League, you want to skip right to the Smash, Wii U, Melee, Overwatch, CSGO, whatever you want. Just look in the description below, and we're going to have some really, hopefully, spot-on timestamps for you. You guys can just click on those and easily get to the content you want to listen to. Or listen to the whole thing, because that's what we appreciate, too.
Yeah, this actually came as a suggestion from one of our listeners. So thanks very much for the feedback.
Absolutely.
Alright. So, we're going to start off with League as usual, and we're going to start off with the Dig and TSM games. Now,
absolutely.
Last week, I did predict a 0-2, and I was very pleasantly surprised to know that we beat Dignitas this week.
We did. We beat Dignitas. I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that was to be expected. I was on the fence. Dignitas, it's coming down to the line, and that's generally when CLG kind of kicks up their A game a little bit at the end of the split, and they're like, oh, guys, hey, we need to win some games. And, we get a little bonus.
Well, we went back to the let's stomp game 1, and then let's have heart attacks and just Fiesta and throw game 2, and then game 3 is, let's give you some heart attacks.
Yeah, you got to get at least a heart attack or two, and then have fun.
Yeah, so not too much to say for game 1. Some early games for Darshan is on the Shen. He's playing like a monster as usual, and then Dignitas actually picks up Nasus, who got buffed this patch. So
yeah, with the tank meta kind of buff there.
Right.
Were we on 7.14 or 1.5 on LCS?
I want to say it's 1.5 now.
Okay, yeah. With that, the Nasus got super good.
Right. So he wants to try to split push. CLG keeps Nasus down early. I don't really have too much to say for this.
No, it was a pretty clean game. Yeah. Like, Huhi goes 8-0-6. I mean, Dignitas got 2 kills. That's basically how you can look at it. And they have a Nasus. So, then that Nasus was given no chance.
They got two turrets with the Nasus as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that you have to expect that too, right? Like, they're going to get if you're a Nasus team, you're going to be split pushing super hard because your Q does like 3/4 of the turret's health if you're ahead.
Right. I mean, CLG gets Baron, and then they just end the game from there.
Yeah, Baron and 3 Ocean Drakes. I mean,
oh yeah,
with a Shen, Shen and Gragas, 3 Ocean Drakes is basically like, oh yeah, you poked us, that's cool. I'm just gonna walk away, and 30 seconds later, I'm full health.
Yeah, there's not too much to say for this. And then game 2, Aphromoo plays on Karma and is basically inting the whole time. Yep. He's actually hard inting.
Like, what are they doing? Like, Aphromoo on non-playmaking champions is just... It's... At this point in time, he needs to be playing, like, Alistar or Thresh.
Well, even I understand, you've got Ardred Sensor, which is actually really, really strong right now.
Yeah.
And then you go and you power up a Kog'Maw, and you get to the late game Kog'Maw. But none of that matters. I mean, even if your Camille starts getting ahead, none of that matters when the enemy AD carry gets 3 kills by, 5 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and at the same time, it's a Kog'Maw versus a Tristana.
Hey, that game's over.
So they're both hyper carries, and it all comes down to which one gets rolling first to shut the other one down, and it was Tristana.
Yeah. So, I want to make a note. So Shrimp played J4, and as someone who plays a lot of AD carry, I hate Jarvan.
Yeah, especially with his new patches where his shield actually scales off percent max HP. That's amazing.
Oh, just the level 2 ganks. I hate it.
Oh, yeah, no. Because you have nothing against it. It's like at level 2, you're not thinking to skill up your escape if you have one.
Oh, you just blow flash. You have to. Straight up.
Yeah, exactly. At level 2, you're like, all right, let's get that Oh. Oh, never mind. There's a J4 in the bush, and he just knocked me and my support up. We're dead.
Or he picks lethality J4, and then you actually get one shot. I hate it.
Yeah, that's true.
I hate it so much.
So let's get on to game 3.
Right, so game 3, it's actually a much slower tempo early game, and pretty even for the most part. And then CLG actually does a recall. They send their bot lane top. Aphromoo is on Alistar this game. Extremely important change. Turns out, Aphromoo's really good on this champion.
What? No way.
It's crazy. So
Aphromoo on the cow? He's good on the cow? No.
the cow in the bell costume.
Yeah.
There was some BM at the end of this game.
There was. That was really good BM. I loved it. The whole team was basically in front of the Nexus on Dignitas's spawn dancing and
then they had the slumber party skins, all of them.
Yep. Oh, it was fantastic.
All right, so just getting back. All right, before we go off on tangents. So they do a little bit of a lane swap. I don't know if you call it a lane swap. They just do an early recall, send their bot lane top. And we've got, of course, our Narshan. We've got Omargard on Gragas. We've got Huhi on Taliyah. So everyone's slowly trying to make their way bot. And CLG does a little bit of initiation. They try to get a pick off. And I want to say they got something on the Renekton, if memory's correct. And then Dignitas actually ends up returning and then picking up some kills as well. And a few people, such as Alta, just live with small slivers of hit points. You know, those are the ones where really one auto, they're dead. That's dumb.
Yeah.
So then Dignitas chases. They overchase, and Huhi and Stixxay play super well to stay alive. I don't even know how they managed to stay alive in that. It was just super, super close. And after that, CLG just ends up getting really far ahead.
Yeah, and then basically just close out the game in really solid performance.
Yeah, there really wasn't too much to say after that. Aphromoo decided, hey, let's not sandbag anymore after the second game. He puts on a clinic of an Aphromoo, of an Alistar game. And there's one part which people will probably mention a lot is that Adrian's on the Taric. He's one of the few Taric players right now, along with, I think, Smoothie. And he actually ends up baiting out the Taric ult, and once that's gone, that's a huge teamfight tool down. So then Aphromoo just waits for his cooldowns to go back up, and he has zero hesitation. The whole team goes in, they just clean up house.
Yeah, because they didn't have to worry about the Taric ultimate, making everyone immune to damage.
And then all I have left is Omargard and his Gragas cast. Left a lot to be desired.
A little bit, and that's kind of a trend all weekend, was a little bit of his Gragas casks were always just a little bit off.
I mean, CLG's obsession with Gragas also is interesting. I don't quite get the obsession with Gragas.
I mean, at this point in time...
Especially first picking, flex picking it.
The first pick, flex pick of Gragas kind of... I mean, we're CLG, so both Darshan and Omargard can play Gragas. I think it's more of to not have it so that they don't ban it in the second phase. Because no one's really going to ban Gragas in the first phase. He's just not that big of an issue. But once you come to phase 2 and people have kind of picked lanes, you can then kind of ban out that Gragas against CLG a little bit in phase 2.
But you can do the same thing with Maokai, who's a top priority pick right now, and he can go top lane if you don't want him to jungle.
And I mean, seriously, Maokai was available in that game.
He was available
most of those games. I think all weekend.
Games.
Yeah, none of them he was banned. But no one... Oh, I guess Shrimp picked him and Omargard picked him in the second game. But yeah, I think the Gragas pick is just really weird for CLG because it's what Omargard is really comfortable playing at this point, I think. And that's, I think, one of his biggest weaknesses as well, is that he is shown as being a very good Gragas player when he's on point. But at the same time, if you throw him on something like Sejuani, he's not quite as confident on something like that. Where, in effect, the ultimate is kind of the same thing. You know, like, it's a large ultimate that when it hits creates an AoE. It doesn't knock back, but it freezes in place. And it's the same idea of that skill shot. And we'll talk about that.
Engage, disengage, all that. I don't know.
Exactly.
Omar God still needs to gel in with the team. Just look at him. He doesn't quite fit in yet. And now,
but he can bench press sticks, eh?
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, because CLG won this game and a few other things, CLG was actually locked in for the third place seed.
Yes.
Of course, because of this, we are now facing against Envy. So Darshan's going to have a really rough time against the monster top laner that is Seraph with all that solo queue experience.
He's top solo queue, top laner.
Oh yeah, definitely. So this act match will actually be on August 19th. And then on August 20th will be Cloud9 versus Dignitas. Now, again, because CLG is the third seed, if they win, they play up against Immortals on August 26th.
Yeah. So we have to beat Envy, obviously, then we have to beat Immortals, and then we have to beat TSM. So,
right.
As you could have seen in the CLG subreddit as well, there was a lot of people that thought we should just lose against TSM on Sunday.
Okay. Let me say this. Fuck that. All right.
Yeah. Fuck that. Indeed. No one wants to lose to TSM.
Forget TSM. You should never, ever want your team to lose.
Yeah.
Why would you ever want? I don't care whether it's you get an easier route to something or it's a harder route. No. You want your team to win every single game and smash your opponent. Every single game.
Every single game. I didn't understand it. They're like, oh, but it makes it easier for CLG to get, into the playoffs or into Worlds. And I'm like, no.
If you want to be a Worlds contender, you want to be a world-class team. You don't want the easy way. You
want to get there the hard way.
Yeah, you need to be able to be the best in your region. No matter what. What's the point? If you take the easy route to Worlds, well, then you're saying, but hey, look, we sort of snuck our way into Worlds, but hey, we're going to get destroyed. What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Ugh, I don't know. It was kind of off-putting to see it happen.
It pissed me off.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? No one wants to see us lose.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so why don't we move into the match match 2 was against TSM, and it came down to this game really didn't matter in terms of for us. It mattered in the fact that it was going to set who we played in playoffs, the second round of playoffs.
I believe it also affected whether TSM got first seed or not.
Yes, it affected. So it affected the fact that if TSM beat us, they got first seed and had a guaranteed trip to Worlds because they get to be the one who goes on championship points alone. They don't have to do a gauntlet. They don't have to win the split in the playoffs. They get to go no matter what.
It's amazing how much losing to Phoenix 1 really hurt us.
It did, yeah.
Right.
It really did.
So, I actually wasn't able to watch this series because I was moving that day. So tell me, how does Game 1 turn out? Because it did not look good.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch Game 1 either. However, from what I've read and the little bits of clips I've seen, nothing went well in this game.
Right. Well, we're just gonna skip Game 1 then.
We'll skip over Game 1. CLG. It was weird.
TSM got an early lead and just ran with it.
This is the one where we talked about how Sejuani is nearly the same as Gragas, but God doesn't seem to know how to play that. Unfortunately, I mean, Stixay also didn't have a very hot game on Ashe.
Hey, we got Gragas,
but we did get Gragas, and then we picked fifth Sejuani. Well,
mission accomplished, boys. We got Gragas.
Yeah, instead of giving Darshan something top such as like Shen, even though Shen into Anar isn't the best idea, Shen into a Sejuani alt is an amazing idea in my mind. You know, like, oh, Sejuani channel ultimate onto Sejuani as she ults and jumps into a group of the team, and then you have your Shen all of a sudden here. That sounds amazing.
I don't think their draft was terrible, though.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't.
You've got the Orianna, you can combo it with Sejuani, or even if Gragas goes and gets a nice multi-man body slam or something. I mean, I can see it, and you've got Ashe for the engage, and same thing with I can see it, but without actually watching the game, can't really say too much. It looks like in game 2, though, he just played absolutely out of his mind. I'm just looking at the scoreline here, though. Yeah,
so game 2 was like a complete reversal. It was like CLG was like, we're just going to give the fans what they want. Ha ha ha. All these idiots on Reddit want us to lose. Game 2, they put on their tryhard pants and they really put up an amazing fight. So all game, it was extremely close. And the casters really kind of hyped this up because Darshan went on and said before the game that, you know what, this game is going to come down to a 5-on-5 team fight, and whoever wins that team fight is going to win it. And that's essentially what this game came down to. Huhi playing his mind out, going 10-3 and 11 against Bjergsen on Corki, who was 7-5 and 7. I think, though, the biggest issue that CLG had in this game was the fact that they had no Baron or Drake control, because CLG basically stole a Baron from TSM, and that was the only Drake Baron they got all game. Mm-hmm. TSM had 3 Air Drakes and a Mountain Drake, and they got 2 Barons and 2 Elder Drakes. Like, at one point, Corki was flying down mid so fast that Kobe thought he had the one, or the package, sorry. But then he was like, wait, Corki doesn't have the package. He just is really fast because he has 3 Ocean Drake, or 3 Air Drakes. Or Cloud Drakes, whatever.
I wonder how fast he'd move with the package.
He would have been moving blazingly fast.
You get a little Rammus in there.
Yeah.
You would love that.
Yeah. In the end, it came down to exactly what Darshan said. It was a 5-on-5 team fight. But because of the ability for TSM to position and the fact that they had 4 Drakes and an Elder Drake for that true damage burn, that was basically the winning point for TSM in that fight. And it came down to TSM winning game 2 and taking the series 2-0.
All I hear is that fight was extremely close, and how impressive it was for CLG to make it that close, considering how fed Doublelift was, how fed Bjergsen was, and considering that they had 3 Oceans plus, 3 Clouds plus the Elder.
The Drake.
Four Drakes plus Elder.
They had 4 Drakes plus Elder, so they were like ticking something like almost 100 true damage a second, I think it is. With 4 Drakes, I forget what the thing is. I think it's like 15 or 25 per Drake. It's brutal. Yeah. Anyway, so that does mean that CLG, as we said before, had locked in 3rd place in the spring split regular season, meaning that they will fight Envy, and in the event that we make it to the finals, which of course we will, it will most likely be TSM.
Right. Well,
TSM, we won't face TSM until the finals, because of TSM taking 1st place and getting the guaranteed bye into the semifinals, as well the guaranteed invite to Worlds. That means that we won't face TSM until the grand finals, meaning that it could come down to the classic Clown Fiesta of TSM versus CLG to see who wins the spring split.
I'm not happy about
summer
losing
split.
Here. I'm not happy at all, but
me either.
I'm down for return or another.
I am down for Immortals is a rival, like they are definitely kind of like that little bit of the rival, but they're not friendly, TSM level.
They're that friendly rival that you sort of banter with,
Yeah, exactly. Like, TSM's got Doublelift left on a really bad note, whereas both Pobelter and Smithy left on on relatively even notes. Like Smithy asked to leave because he wanted like the full starting role, and he kind of wanted a challenge, like another challenge where he felt too comfortable on CLG. And Pobelter left because he wanted the starting role and didn't want to share with Huhi. He wanted to be a full-time mid laner. And I mean, look at him now. Like him and Huhi are basically top tier mid laners in NA and are duking it out for the top third spot.
Now, it should be noted that Immortals has no championship points except for this guaranteed, which they'll get for having at least 4th place. So they'll get some points for that. If Dignitas beats Cloud9, then if CLG manages to get to 2nd place, they will go on points. Now, I don't want to go on points. I want to go on winning.
I do too.
But, hey, we can get the easy path to Worlds, man.
No.
All right.
You know what? You know how I want to go to Worlds? I want to go to Worlds winning the summer split. That's how I want to go.
3-0 NV, 3-0 Immortals, 3-0 TSM.
Yep, we can do it. Exactly.
All right. So
I guess the last couple things we have left to talk about in League of Legends, they're a little off LCS topic. Hey?
Yeah, so the CLG Lord Academy team is actually doing open recruitments right now. And they've got all the requirements on their website. Essentially, you got to be challenger, have a deep champion pool.
Dang.
Dedication. You have to actually you have to be positive, apparently.
Oh, you have to be positive.
It's explicitly written that you have to build a positive branded image.
well, maybe they'll let me in. Maybe because I'm such a positive person, especially for CLG.
I mean, you are Canadian.
Maybe that I am Canadian, so Hotshot can give me some love there too, and maybe the fact that we do the podcast, that kind of bumps our League of Legends ranks up.
Well, you do speak proficient English, so there's that.
Yeah, that's that too, right? I can communicate in English,
and you can relocate to LA. That's another one.
Yeah, I could easily relocate to LA. No issues there.
List of champion pool. You have Rammus.
And
Rammus. All your other Rammus skins.
Rammus. I have King Rammus. I can play Thresh. I can play Rammus and Thresh. I'm really good at Singed. I'm really good at Singed. I don't know if they need that though.
I mean,
but I can jungle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I can be Omer God sub. Please,
sub.
Hotshot. Yeah.
All right. Another thing that actually happened was the Return of Legends tournament that happened in China, and let's just say Hotshot made Seraph look like a god tier top laner.
He really did. I mean, Hotshot, man, we love you.
Did he get a kill the entire tournament? I don't know.
They only got to play 2 games.
I think he got no kills the entire tournament.
I wouldn't doubt it. It was pretty sad to watch. Like, I tuned in. I watched through game 1 as a VOD, and I tuned into game 2, and I was just like, "What are we doing?" Like, I mean, essentially, if you look at it, it is a bunch of like players that really peaked in season 1 and 2 versus where there was no world championship that was like international versus a bunch of teams that have won or made it very deep in worlds. Like even if we had won against China, which was essentially Team We plus a friend.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was World Elite plus a friend, and then the Taiwan team was basically Taipei Assassins plus a friend. Like it was
pretty much.
It was 2 teams that had been...
For those that don't remember, Taipei Assassins were the Season 2 World Champions.
Yeah, so they were the guys who won the first World Championship that was international.
Okay, yeah, first one was just NA versus EU.
It was NA versus EU, which isn't really international considering. And,
hey man, it's more international than the World Series.
Oh, yeah, the World Series of baseball, absolutely. We're the best baseball team in the world. Well, there's only like 50 of you, and you only play in North America. Anyways,
Hotshot out there is a baseball fan that just turned it off right now.
Yeah, probably. He's like, God, what idiots.
All right.
Yeah, so Hotshot didn't play so Hotshot. I mean, what can you expect though? Like the guy hasn't played. It was more of just a for fun event and he got to take his picture on a
I
pool.
don't think Hotshot was having all that much fun.
I think he was, because he probably got an all-expense paid trip to Hong Kong.
There's always that.
Yeah.
Man, I would have loved to see the return of Hotshot and the GGs. Let's get Nien back. Let's get Dexter back.
That's essentially what NA was. NA was just like hot. It was like half. Yeah, it was basically Hotshot and his GG friends, like Chowster, Chaox. Who was the mid laner? Oh no, mid laner was Chowster, and Hotshot was top lane. Who was our jungle? I forget who our jungle was.
Was it Saint?
No, it wasn't Saint. Otherwise, we would have never gotten a Drake.
Odd one.
Odd one. That's right. We got an odd one.
Yeah, so it was top lane Hotshot, Odd one, Link.
Chaos, Link was mid. Yes.
And then Link didn't do too bad.
No, Link. The people were basically like, you know what? Like Link and who was the jungler again? Oh, Odd one.
The general.
No, it wasn't. It was like Link and Chowster. That I think people were basically like, they actually kind of look like they still play the game. Everyone else looks like they haven't touched the game and are silver 1.
It's like you just read the patch and I was like, I can make this.
Yeah,
champion
sure.
now.
Yeah, I can play Maokai. No worries, guys.
Oh, Cho'Gath's broken. Cool. I'll just play that.
Oh yeah.
Or they go into the game like, what? Who's this new champion? What's this?
Yeah.
This Camille thing?
Let's play Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't actually play Kane. All right, so why don't we move on?
I'm just looking at some of these names. It's just sorry.
Oh yeah, they're very old.
EU is Kevin Cyanide. Cyanide, right?
Cyanide, right? XPK.
Guys, I can't go out like this.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yellow Pete.
Yeah, Yellow Pete. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember his name. Holy crap. He hasn't played in
China
ages.
I included Messiah, Wei Zhao.
Wei Zhao, yeah.
This is old names.
Yeah, isn't he banned from playing in NA?
No, that's Xiao Wei Zhao.
Oh, that's Xiao Wei Zhao. Right. I think.
There was a joke saying that so for Team Liquid, they're like, oh, you need more mid laners? I hear Xiao Wei Zhao's free.
You can just come boost all your accounts for you.
Are we paid by Steve?
Oh man, good times.
All
right. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
Let's move on to some Smash.
All right. So this weekend we actually had Smash Factor 6.
Yeah.
And
that was happening down in Mexico.
Yeah, not a huge event, but S2J was there, The Moon was there, some other big names were there as well. So,
None was there. Yeah, like for Melee. In Wii U there was like MK Leo, Anti was there. It was they had some decent competition down there. It wasn't, like there's no Leffen or Zero for Wii U there, but it was a good showing.
All right, so why don't you tell us how SFAT did?
All right, so our boy SFAT right into the pools. SFAT showed his competition, basically how he's going to do it in SoCal. It's like, look, come to SoCal, I'll school you there. I'm going to come down to Mexico. It's not too far of a drive away. I'm going to school you down there too. He crushed Spooky, Achuk, Nini, Chedo, and Mary Sawa, who actually played Dr. Mario for one game.
Love Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario and Melee. Chino, and he also beat Colgate. He beat them all 2-0 to get right into the winners bracket. Starting winners off, he faced off against Mauricio, who he also 2-0'd. And next up was L Link. Can you guess who he played?
It's a tough one. Was it,
it could be
Ganondorf?
Right? It was close to Ganondorf. Related to Ganondorf.
What was it, Zelda? I mean, they have got a whole series named after him,
almost, yeah. There is a series named after Zelda, the man. Yep. Absolutely. He played Link, which is in Melee. No, don't. He went 2-0 against L Link again. Dash was his next opponent, a Samus player, but SFAT was like, hey, you know Chudat. You're not Chudat. I'm not going to lose to you as Samus. He 3-0s him. Next up was a Falco player. So they're getting like a whole gamut of people playing weird metas down here in Mexico.
To be fair, Falco's not that weird.
Falco's not that bad.
He's top tier.
He's top tier, but you almost never see him played in like SoCal, NorCal, anything like that at a top level. You know, the top level players are playing Fox because the kit is so similar that it's basically like you might as well play Fox. You know?
Yeah.
Because Fox is just top tier.
You got Fox.
So
you got
this player,
Jigglypuff and Peach
Fox,
and all that other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, that was Bimbo. Bimbo is playing Falco. He was the next one up, and another 3-0 by SFAT. His first really tough opponent, though, was, I believe it's No1 or N1 or None. I don't know how he pronounces his name. None. The Captain Falcon player put up a pretty good fight, but SFAT was like, knocked him down 3-2. In the winners finals, his opponent was the Moon, also known as La Luna. That's how he goes by it when he's playing in Mexico, but they translate it to
sweet,
English.
Man.
I like the
That's
La
a sweet
Luna
name. I like that.
Yeah, the Moon. This guy was definitely his toughest opponent thus far, and it was really, really good. But the Moon actually beat SFAT 3-0. Like, totally 3-0'd SFAT. Send him to the losers bracket, which was like, whoa. He's the Moon is channeling his Mexican pride, and he's like, look, man, you can't take me down in my hometown. This is where I play. I come to SoCal, and you beat me, but when you come here, I beat you.
Yeah, but we all know how SFAT does. How angry he gets when he loses. I mean, it's not when this time around, but he's still pretty pissed off.
When SFAT loses a match, he basically takes that out on everyone else until the grand finals. And so, knocked into the losers bracket, SFAT was extremely undeterred by his next opponent, who was S2J, and beat him 3-2. That means that our boy SFAT is into the grand finals versus the guy who just knocked him down into the losers finals, the Moon. Now, remember it's a double elimination. So SFAT actually has to beat La Luna twice in order to take first place. So SFAT definitely took that first loss to the Moon personally because he demolished the Moon 3-1 in the first set of games. That means that SFAT has to beat the Moon one more time. But you could really, really see the difference in how SFAT was playing between his set in the initial set and the first set here in the winners grand finals.
He was on
because
point.
Man, he was amazing. His down airs and his punishes were just absolutely beautiful. The casters were like, okay, you're playing Fox and you're playing a punish game. Like, you need to watch these VODs because this is exactly how you do it.
It's pretty much a clinic on how you play Fox.
Oh, it was. And so now that means we move on to the absolute real grand finals because it is do or die for our boy SFAT. He needs to win this. The Moon has to win this one. It's winner takes all at this point. So, in a close match one, the Moon took it to actually bring it to 0-1 for the Moon. Match 2 was also extremely close, coming down to one stock each, 0% both, but with an amazingly huge mistake on an edge grab by the Moon, SFAT took match 2. Match 3, however, was all SFAT. He was up 2 stocks at the end, and with a really good edge guard and punishes, he takes match 3. Match 4, the Moon had an absolutely amazing game. Like, SFAT was just like, what's going on here? So SFAT was up 3-2, but with some great plays, the Moon actually took it back to a 1-1 stock, and with amazing plays, like I just said, the Moon actually takes a perfect stock.
Zero damage?
It was 0-0, and he took 0% damage on his last stock and took out SFAT. It was brutal. So that means, tied up 2-2, we're going to a Game 5. But Game 5 was it was amazing work by SFAT. So much punish. Like, you could tell that he was like, okay, look, we're in your hometown, but I'm a god. You don't get to beat a god even if he comes to your hometown. So much punish, so many beautiful ledge dashes. SFAT basically was like, I've seen everything you have to do, Moon, and I'm just going to disintegrate it, and I'm going to crush you. And he dismantled the Moon and took Grand 5, and therefore our boy SFAT got first place at Smash Factor 6. It was actually really nice because, like, at the end, SFAT kind of stood up and had a huge smile on his face, and he kind of turned to the crowd, and the crowd actually started chanting SFAT's name, you know, even though, like, the Moon was, like, the hometown favorite, and then he actually bowed and kind of thanked the crowd for having him down and were, like, super into it. I think they were just, like, super pumped to have, like, some big names like SFAT down there playing as well. It was good.
Not only that, they also got to witness one hell of a match.
Yeah, like 2 Game 5 both time, or 2 Game 5 in the very grand finals where it's both of them are coming in from losers. Like, oh, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So it looks like SFAT earned the Moon's respect when he was there because they had to team up for doubles. PFAT, PFAT. Haven't seen it once again for a little bit of time, but
it's been a little while.
I think SFAT's getting a lot of experience with a lot of different people right now, just in terms of duos practice.
And I think that's one of the strengths of SFAT is that he can team up with anyone. And to put it into perspective, though, the Moon does play Marth, so it's not like he's trying to team up with like another Fox or something like that, where they kind of have to balance back and forth. He's actually playing with a Marth, which he's used to playing with Pew Pew U anyway. So it allows for a lot of kind of, you know, he doesn't have to learn what the Marth is expecting to do. He knows what the Marth is expecting and can play with that.
Yep. So they start right off in the pools, and they go up against Steve Gill 007 and Benjamin Gill 007. Yeah. 007.
Yeah.
They just die.
Yep.
That's all I have. They just die.
That's all you need to say.
I like how you call them the Fat. I'm calling them...
I liked it, the Fat, yeah.
I kind of like Fat Moon. But
some people were calling him that, like the casters, they were trying to figure out what to call it, and I was like, let's call it the Fat. Like, the Fat.
I like Fat Moon, man.
Okay.
Alright. At any rate, the two of them, they both go up against Dash and Cheto, and then AGMA and MC Mike. Both went 2-0. Don't know what AGMA is supposed to be.
Me either. Egma? I don't know.
Egma?
Maybe it's got like a really long name, and the people are like, no. Your name can't be 47 characters long. You got to shorten that up, buddy.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
This actually puts them right off into the winner's bracket, and then they go up against Eddie Mexico and .jpeg.
Yep. Another fantastic name.
Okay. And, you know, I don't know what, man. Maybe you just couldn't get into the game or something, but they lose 2-0.
Yeah.
And then I was going to try to think of how to slip a JPEG joke in there. I just couldn't.
No. I was trying to think as well, and there was just nothing I could think of.
Something with a compression or just...
Maybe what we ended up doing is before the game, SFAT managed to sneak some code into the header of the JPEG to make it completely different than what he actually was.
I don't know. I could get
technical. He hit a virus in the header of the JPEG.
There we go. It just ate a Eddie Mercury. Yeah. Okay, we're done. Moving on. So they move right into the finals, and they face their first real competition, and this was Javi and Azza. And this was a pretty tough matchup, but... Alright, you wrote the Fat? I'm going to go with the Fat this time.
I wrote the Fat.
They end up taking the win 3-2. Moving on, the Fat Moon duo. They go up into the grand finals against the winner's side. They were on the winner's side, I should say. Which means they just have to win one series, and they immediately win. So they go up against the coolest duo, that is S2J and None. Again, I don't know if that's supposed to be no one or if it's supposed to be none.
I know, right? Like, I'm like N1 or none or N1. I don't know.
Either
People
way,
have some weird names.
They've got double the Falcon power. So, 2 Falcon punches just coming at you.
Oh.
It's always a super fast champion, always super annoying, but somehow, they managed to pick up 2 series, actually. A little surprising. You were expecting that solid 3-0 like always, but...
Like always.
A little close, a little dicey. SFAT makes some really good plays, so does the Moon. They end up tying it up 2-0. Oh, sorry, 2-2. 2-2.
Yep.
And then finally, for the potential match, where do they go? They go to Pokemon Stadium.
Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, SFAT on Pokemon Stadium, man, it's just a beauty to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Just beautiful tee-ups from the Moon for SFAT, and in the end, they take it 3-2.
Yeah.
And this means they actually end up going first place in doubles at Smash Factor 6.
Yeah, so double first place by SFAT, man. Like, really well done.
Right. So, let's just go right into some Smash.
Yeah, some Smash 4. Why don't we?
Yeah. So, Natcat actually joined him down there at Smash Factor 6, and in his pools, he ends up crushing it. He beats N64, Link Milo, Tori, Luyathos, Mr. Wamu, and
with a bunch
Savior.
of little squiggly. I like the little squiggles, you know. Mr. Squiggle, Wamu Squiggle. I'm like, what?
I can't even get the names in the US and
now
different region. I mean, come on. Yeah. Natcat does, because he picked up all those 2-0s, he goes straight seeded into the winner's bracket, and he goes up against Reggie Shikami, and he wins that 3-2. Gets a little close at times, but of course, win's always a win. From there, he gets pushed on into the winner's quarterfinals, and he goes up against MK Leo. And unfortunately, this was much tougher than Natcat expected, and he ends up getting knocked out 0-3, just a complete sweep, and he gets sent into the loser's bracket. But from there, goes up against Chad, and he beats him 3-1. And then, Natcat's still pretty pissed off after that loss, and he does the exact same thing to Rox right after that. The next challenger then was Beggar. And you know what, Natcat's, I don't want these 3-1s. Let's go 3-0. Solid victory against him. And this puts him right up into the loser's semifinals. And this goes against Kamim. And in this match, Natcat pulls out Donkey Kong, of all things. And Kamim pulls out the Wario of all characters.
Goddamn Wario in Smash 4 pulling out his stupid little, his car.
The bike.
He can pull out the motorbike, his motorbike. I forget what it's called. You can pull that out.
It's the Wario bike.
Yep.
Yeah. So, really, really close at times, but Natcat ends up clinching out and gets that 3-2. And this is an interesting match to watch, because you don't normally see too much DK.
No, you really don't. He's basically like he's becoming more popular now, like as the meta shifts a little bit.
Right.
But at the same time,
he's still a highly telegraphed character.
Yeah, he's got so many big tells that like what's coming, that faster characters like Sheik or Diddy Kong are a lot more popular because it's harder to tell what's coming out.
Right. So just moving on, Natcat actually goes up into the losers finals, and he goes up against an old nemesis in MK Leo. And fortunately, man, all that training the hyperbolic time chamber that was a losers bracket, it's not enough to help him, because MK Leo actually comes out 3-0 still. So, unfortunate for Natcat, but he does end up finishing in 3rd place. So it's just still a pretty damn solid finish by him. Absolutely,
a really good solid finish by him. Like finishing in the top 4 at an event like this is really good.
You're in a different region. You don't know any of the people you're playing against.
Exactly. They have a little bit of a different meta, as we've seen with in Melee, them pulling out some weird picks. They have a little bit of different meta, and you've never really played against a lot of these people before, so it's kind of, you're like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. Let's throw down.
Right,
and then
adapting because you've played the opponent even once helps a lot, because you just saw with SFAT against the Moon.
Yeah,
got pretty handedly destroyed against him. Sorry, he got pretty handedly destroyed by the Moon. The first time he faced him, second time around, much closer. So
exactly.
Why don't you tell us how doubles happens?
Yeah, so as we stated, Void didn't make it down, so Natcat teamed up with Mr. R. In pools, they beat down Beta, and you guys are going to love this, Lord Bieber, Chaplain, and Ez.
It's not easy?
And Deep, Easy, Ez, I don't know, Easy maybe. Dipolo and Joe Joseph, and Salva and Ricci. They beat them all 2-0. Right out of pools into winners, they faced off against Kameme and Anti, and unfortunately got 0-3'd, knocking them into losers. In the losers quarter, they faced off against Hyuga and Brian Z and beat them 3-1. In the semis, they came up against Surge and Captain Levi, and after a tough match, ended up taking a loss 2-3. This means that Naka and Mr. R did finish in 4th place, so in doubles 4th place, that's not a bad showing at all.
Not at all.
No, not one bit.
Yeah, so actually that's all the CLG news we have this week.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, so next weekend there's no league happening next weekend. So, we won't have to, but I think what we'll do is we'll do some playoff talk, eh?
Yeah, definitely. We'll give a little bit of an overview of how CLG will match up against Envy. Hopefully it doesn't backfire like how we predicted the previous playoff series to go against FlyQuest.
Yeah.
And
hopefully not.
I'm really hoping that Omar Gar will integrate really well.
Me as well. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see him in playoffs in general and see if he kind of gets that bit of a playoff buff that CLG tends to get.
Yeah, because Darshan has been playing out of his mind this split. So has Huhi.
Huhi.
Aframu, outside of that one Karma game which he just inted, I think he's slowly getting much better and going back into his playoff form.
Yeah, like
Our
we saw at the
not inting every game anymore.
Yeah, we saw at the beginning of the split for a little bit there. Like Aframu was having a little bit of struggling. Yeah, like we did well at the beginning, but it was always like an Aframu seemed to be like, is his heart really in it? And then boom, he kind of like explodes back on, and we just get on that dominating streak where we were in 1st place or tied for 1st with Immortals basically the entire split. It was good stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see some Mastercraft drafting by Zix as well.
Exactly. So, you know what? We got one more thing to talk about.
TI7's going on.
Oh, TI7. Who cares about that?
It's not CLG related, but
no. The Fantasy LCF or LCS, Fantasy LCF, man.
Do you really want to talk about
that's completed. I've got it open right now.
Yeah, do you really want to talk about how you did?
I do. You know why? Because I got 2nd place.
All right, why don't you go over it?
Okay. So, just looking over it, we got Nefarious here. He won pretty handily. He went 8-1.
What can I say?
Little bugger. But you know what? Your points earned were actually pretty low.
I just earn them when
if you look over everyone, your points, you were actually like 4th place for total points earned.
You see, I don't try to get the most amount of points every week.
No, you just have to get enough.
I just get enough to win.
You needed enough. And, I mean, you had the least amount of points against you was also the thing. So every week that someone played you, their team sucked balls.
I attributed it to very smart drafting of my roster.
Oh,
and,
yes.
Very intelligent tactical decisions.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, Nefarious got 1st. I got 2nd.
If you
six
started
and
sub
3.
out Dardoch, it was a good idea.
Yeah. And then Prof Yana actually got 3rd place with going 5-4 as Kafefe Logic Gaming. 4th place was Fluke 2 Worlds by Summoner BKA. 5th place was Dar Shits. He went 4-5 by Summoner Zalsurfate. Dar Dominance, who kind of crashed and burned a little bit, sort of like a certain player. He went 3-6, got 6th place. Neo Mav was the summoner behind that. Trump's Stinky Monkeys went 3-6. That was Mr. Garbage Man. And Huhi Zed PogChamp went 2-7, and by Kieran Tudo. Poor Huhi Zed PogChamp.
So we never saw Huhi Zed this split. That's why.
No, that's exactly why. I want to point out that in week 2 of the Fantasy LCS draft, I had my closest win, and that closest win was a 2.1 point difference. That was how close it was. And then the week before that was a loss, and the difference in the loss was 0.37 points.
Settle down there, 2nd place.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say that the summary for my team, Faithful AF, my best player, can you guess who my best player was?
Let's see. Who do you have on your team? Just take a quick peek. Was it Huhi?
It was Huhi. Huhi was my best player.
Huhi was an actual sleeper pick this entire
515.74 points this split.
I'm telling you, he was a sleeper pick the entire split.
He really was. Like, no one really expected a lot to come out of him, but like for week 9, he got me 69.8 points. Like, that was the best off everyone else. Aside from Fnatic's Jesses. I mean, he only played one game, so he got two. Mm-hmm. He got double points, I believe, on that one.
Yep.
But he got 63.28 points. That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it was
as a support.
Totally
He's the support player, right? Like what the hell is that?
Yeah, Fnatic games were a little lopsided in points.
A little bit. I mean, they did play against Roccat, so that was good stuff. Yeah.
It was really interesting this split, just because there were so many roster swaps happening. You had a player, and all of a sudden you didn't want that player because he's on Team Liquid now, or I had Ryu. Well, he's not playing now. What do I do?
Well, it's funny because I actually had drafted Wild Turtle and Lemon Nation and High as alts. I had Wild Turtle as my flex, and I had High and Lemon Nation as alts. And then around week 7?
You were really stretching for draft picks at that point.
And I had Zig as well until week 8.
I kept stealing your draft picks.
You did. And week 8, I was like, wait a minute. Why do I still have someone from Phoenix 1 who's barely putting up any points in my draft? And swapped him out for Cabo Shard, but he failed pretty hard too. But he was like the best potential top laner that was left at that point.
You know, the best part is, there was a week which Ryu didn't play at all. I still won that week.
And you still won that week, I remember. That was like week 2, wasn't it?
It was week 8. That was one of them. There was a week where Dardoch, I almost got negative points.
You almost got negative points. Oh, here we go. There was one time where... Okay, the game in week 1 where I only lost by 0.37 points... Perks on G2 didn't even play, and he was on Profiana's team, Cafe Logic, who I was playing against. He beat me by 0.37 points, and one of his players didn't even get points. Oh man, that was brutal. That was because Cloud9 shit the bed. Cloud9 and Phoenix 1 went 0-2 that first week.
Yeah,
I had a lot of them.
That was pretty fun,
and
though.
FlyQuest. That was fun. We'll have to do another one if they do one for playoffs.
They don't do it for playoffs. They just do it for the year. But we will have the pick'ems for Worlds.
That's right. We will do the pick'ems for Worlds.
And then we'll watch everyone's pick'ems burn.
Yeah, exactly.
As is tradition.
Yep. Everyone's going to pick CLG to win, and we'll see how we happen to do at Worlds, but you never know.
I didn't realize we get a Aurelion Sol every game. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe people will just ignore the fact that Aurelion Sol is so OP in Huhi's hands.
Alright. I do want to mention one thing, though. My CLG fighting mousepad came in. It's a pretty nice mousepad.
So did mine. You guys might have seen my post on the CLG subreddit where I got rid of my Fnatic one and tossed it in the trash and put my beautiful CLG fighting one on my table.
Yeah,
it goes well. That one was probably 4 or 5 years old. Yeah. I actually got it. I didn't buy it. I signed up for a Reddit GIFs esports exchange, and the person sent me an off-brand gaming mouse and that mouse pad. Yeah.
The other thing that came in that would have been real handy is my CLG slot shaker.
It would have been very handy.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we got now.
I think so.
So,
all right, guys. Yeah.
Go for it.
The CLG Faithful podcast is a weekly podcast that goes over all things CLG. If you enjoy what we do, please take a few minutes to follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, or give us a rating on iTunes and Google Play. We do really like getting feedback, so please send us your thoughts over at clgfaithful@gmail.com, and we promise we will respond.
Yep. So, thanks again, everyone, for listening. This is Nefarious.
And this is Archon.
And this
Peace.
has been the CLG Faithful Podcast. Try not to be salty.
Just a little.
All right, we're signing off. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Peace out.